What's up, everybody? It's Stan Grubb for Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio and the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Hey, join us every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as the triple threat of wrestling radio goes live every week, giving you their thoughts and opinions on the world of professional wrestling. Myself, Brian, and Rob, all live, all here for you. And as my good friend Rob would say, from corner to corner and pillar to post, we bring it to you every week at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. BeyondRingside.com and ProWrestlingRadio.net.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Corner Wrestling Radio. It is Sunday night,
that
9
was
o'clock.
dumb as hell.
Well, you gotta try it eventually, won't you? I'm trying to have things be entertaining and exciting, and I'm trying to avoid bringing up a certain driver's name. We don't want to have any meltdowns here. Everybody nice and everybody cool.
Well, see, it's your show, so the rest of us don't get a chance.
Actually, you've taken us in before.
Rob takes a lot of things in.
Oh! Yep. Yep.
Damn it, Bobby.
We are live. What? What?
Damn it, Bobby.
I learned from watching you, Brian. I learned from watching you.
No, you learned taking it from me.
Nobody says I want to be a junkie when I grow up. Woo! We are live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network, beyondringside.com, ProWrestlingRadio.net, and of course you will find our replays on Spreaker.com shortly after we go off the air. It's myself, Stan Grubb, and of course my tag team partners. The doctor is in. The doctor is Brian Taylor. What's up, sir?
What's going on?
And of course, no triple threat would be complete without the killer himself, Rob Hefner. What's up?
Hello.
And as always, the Magic City Motor Mouth. See, I can get it right. The one and only Fast Eddie Lane. What's up, Edward?
Not much. I just noticed you gave Brian a longer intro than you do, Rob, so you do play favorites.
Damn it. You're not supposed
Thank you. Thank you.
You're not supposed to point that out.
Thank you. I guess it's because Brian cuddled afterwards.
I can't help it if that's the way it works. You know what? Don't hate the player. Come up with something better. Then, yeah, your intro. Give it to, I shop shit to Stan. There you go. There's the first one tonight.
There you go. All right. Welcome to Beyond Ringside Late Night. We'll now be taking a 2-hour break until after the rotation ends.
Crap. Oh, good Lord. We got tons of stuff to talk about. Of course, if you caught us Friday night, we were coming back from Nova Pro Wrestling in Annandale, Virginia, talking about that. We were also able to discuss some of the ramblings and rants coming from the one and only Rebby Sky, also known as Rebby Hardy, or Queen Rebecca. Interesting rant coming from her about Impact Wrestling and apparent lawsuit that they are now suing the Hardy family, including, can't believe this, Senior Benjamin. This is crazy. We'll read off her tweets in a little while. We'll go over that. We talked about it a little bit on Friday night, but it's a lot to cover right now. And, of course, if you are watching and listening to us, if you're watching on flowslam.tv, Style Battle 3 is live. It's going to be Martin Stone making his Style Battle debut. Anthony Henry is wrestling tonight, of course, good friend of the show, so we're cheering for him. Should be exciting all the way around. So, fellas, Madison Square Garden saw the WWE tonight, or today, rather. And here's a thought that I wanted to run by you. Brock Lesnar defeated Kevin Owens in 3 minutes. Owens didn't have a single bit of offense, according to reports. Rob, we'll start with you. What do you think about that, sir?
Did somebody say 3 minutes?
That is an awesome throwback. Well done, sir.
Yeah.
How can you justify, squashing Kevin Owens twice in so many weeks? I mean, geez.
It's Brock Lesnar.
So
And-
it's okay
and
for
you're-
Brock to do it, but not for Goldberg?
It's okay for Brock to do whatever he wants, but, I mean, how are you going to make it a legitimate Goldberg versus Brock match if Brock is taking toe-to-toe with Kevin Owens before the big match? Brock's got to do the whole, I'm going to beat everybody,
Right.
And so then he beats Kevin Owens. And, I mean, I saw a video earlier of last year's where he beat up on the Big Show, and it was like, and somebody had posted it as, Brock at Madison Square Garden, and I'm like, good God, is it like, hey, Big Show, come out and get your ass whipped by Brock again? But, sorry.
No, you can say ass. You're good, sir. You're good.
But yeah. You're going to see it. You're going to see Brock lay waste to everybody because he's going to do what Goldberg's done. And then they'll have the match at WrestleMania that will probably last 3 minutes.
Well, that is the first Rob Stradamus pick for WrestleMania. 3-minute long matchup between Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. If indeed that's the main event, we are all screwed. Brian, what are your thoughts on Kevin Owens getting squashed by big old Brock Lesnar?
At this point, I don't think it really matters. Anytime anybody's in the ring with either one of them two, Brock or Goldberg, you would think we'd be over that type of stuff, but apparently we're not. Squash your whole roster and make them all look foolish. I'm not down with it. That's the dumbest thing I've heard today.
Well, there's still plenty of time and plenty of things that can happen both on Twitter and also in the wrestling world. So, hey, give it a chance. You never know.
No, that's dumb.
Well, here's some cool news, and we'll get Eddie's thoughts on on Kevin Owens here in just a moment. But here's some cool news. Hey, guess who made their debut on the main roster? Rob, you told us first. NXT
Asuka.
Women's Champion Asuka making her debut in Madison Square Garden on the main roster. How cool is that?
I thought it's about time. I thought it was great.
Wow. Thanks, guys. So, Eddie, what'd you think about Kevin Owens getting squashed by Brock Lesnar?
See, the problem with the whole scenario, flashback to Monday night, when Lesnar popped the F5 on Goldberg. For the short length of time.
Hello?
You there?
I think Stan's having issues because
Damn, dead silent. Hello?
I can hear you, Eddie.
I can hear you too, Eddie. Rock on, kid. We'll just keep him on the line for a while.
Yeah, I know.
Keep Stan in purgatory.
Yeah.
Do me a favor. Type in the group chat that we can hear him.
And in this edition of Corner to Corner, Rob and Brian hijack it.
That would be funny. No, if you notice the fact that in that relatively short length of time that Goldberg was in the ring before he took the F5 from Lesnar, how much he was perspiring. I don't see Lesnar going a long match with Goldberg. I don't see it necessary because Goldberg will blow up faster than a 2-ounce balloon on a helium tank. And, yep, he just went bye-bye. Let's see if we can get him back in. We're going to see what happens with the best of modern digital technology live on a Sunday night.
Stan says he's not hearing Jack, but he's got to realize there's no one named Jack on this show.
Oh, there's no Jack on this show?
No, there's no Jack. Jack is off the show.
Damn.
Jack was never on
guys.
Well, actually, Jack was never on the show, so you can't really have a Jack off the show. Oh, it took y'all that long to get it?
No, I was trying to think of something family-oriented for the first hour, but...
Oh, yeah. Who was it that dropped the first fecal reference of the night?
Well, I mean, you gotta bust the ice somehow.
Yeah. No, you don't. There's sometimes you just leave the glacier alone. Ain't that right, Ray Lloyd? No, but seriously, I'm not impressed with the fact that they had Lesnar squash Owens. I think that was horrendous. I think it was a terribly bad idea. And once again, the reasons why, for the most part, with the exception of John Cena and Nikki Bella. And before I go, I'm going to flip the script on y'all for a hot second, because if you saw SmackDown this past Tuesday night or last night in replay on the Universal HD channel, you had a chance to hear and see Miz break that wall yet again. I actually gained a ton of respect for Miz on the microphone Tuesday night and replayed it last night. Do you know to what I refer, gentlemen?
Yes.
All three of you?
Yes.
Okay. Did it not strike you as humorous to the fact that Miz called out the fact that we were not allowed to mention it on WWE programming for the longest time?
Oh, yeah.
Now,
I
say that to ask this. Does it impress you that SmackDown seems to be nipping at that wall more than Raw does? Brian?
Yeah, I mean, I think even though the ratings are kind of off this week, I think SmackDown's just a better product because they're different and they act different. They try to be different. So I have no problem with it.
Rob?
I think it's fine. I mean, because here's the thing we talk about all the time. The new age smart fans, with social media. Stop ignoring the fact that everybody knows what's going on and embrace it and use it in your storylines. I think it's brilliant.
Stan?
I mean, I like what SmackDown's doing. They're doing everything in their power to be as different as they can. So with what Miz is doing, and he's been doing this since SmackDown Live really took off, and that's just pulling no punches. And he always does it on Talking Smack, which just makes it even more entertaining. But then he gets into Miz TV and he starts ripping on John Cena on live television, which is even better. I don't know how that gets any better from here.
Did you disagree with anything he said this past Tuesday night? Reverse order, Stan.
Oh, no, I think it was brilliant. I think when you get into a feud or a matchup where otherwise fans are going to be checked out, you've got to find a way to make people buy in. And if that means you got to, quote-unquote, pull the curtain back, so be it. And John Cena is apparently cool with it because they're rolling with the punches. And I'm digging it. I like what they're doing. That sense of reality really helps. But in the end, the problem is we're going to see a mixed tag match, and that means that it's not going to be necessarily a stellar affair.
Rob?
I mean, I kind of I'm not going to steal Brian's thunder. He and I talked about it the other day, and I kind of agree with what he says. So then I'm going to let Brian answer.
Brian?
Steal my thunder. I've actually forgotten the question.
Did you agree or disagree with anything that he said?
I mean, to me, it's okay until you put Cena and give him the mic and have him in the ring on, talking back to the Miz. I think when they do the Miz, when he does an individual promo, he cuts a beautiful promo. AJ Styles cuts a fairly good promo. But when you throw Cena in there, Cena seems to take it all over, and you ruin any traction you just build up the last few weeks. So, I'm not too keen on the mixed tag either, but I think they should, if Miz can cut a promo like that, let him cut it, even when Cena's in the ring. And you'll probably elevate certain stars that way.
Two more questions from #ThatProducerGuy. Number one, whose stock increased as a result of that? Cena and Nikki, or Maurice and Mike, or Miz? Rob.
Well, I think with the promo, Maurice and Mike, but the issue that I had, and I was sharing with Brian, was then, like the Miz does this great promo and then hands the mic to Maurice, and Maurice comes with like her one line that she says. And so it's like, you got this great promo, then you hand it to her, and you expect, with her history, that she'd be right there with it. And so it seems like she's the weak link on the mic. But I think it helped Mike, the Miz, because after Cena's won the week before, Miz was left with his tail between his legs.
Brian.
Yeah. I would rather her go back to cutting a promo in French and us just simply not understanding it than for her to try and cut a promo in English. So I think it would just work out better.
But whose stock increased as a result of this?
I would probably actually say Nikki is going to be elevated more than the other two based off of this feud. But Mike did a great job with the promo. But until WrestleMania, I don't know how far either one of them's climbed.
Stan?
I mean, as far as whose stock rose better in the moment, I think you have to give it to The Miz for being able to set it up. But I think Brian might be onto something there. If anybody's truly going to benefit from all of this, it's going to be Nikki Bella. Maurice doesn't do any favors when she's on the microphone, so maybe Brian's right. If she just spits it off in French, maybe it comes off, one, as a heel because she doesn't want people to understand what she's saying, and two, she can say more of what she wants, and maybe people won't understand if she's cursing at them. So, I mean, there's benefits to it. I could see this actually hurting Cena going forward, because if Cena doesn't come back with a strong enough retort, and he's going to try, but Miz really, he was shooting with hollow points. it was making sure that everybody knows that Cena's making people sign contracts just to live with them and be his significant other, and he's stealing girlfriends and he's doing that. That's some solid stuff. I don't know that even the doctor of thugonomics could lay down a promo thick enough to really hit his heart.
Last question from that hashtag that producer guy. Me, that is. Coming out of last night, I watched the replay of the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards. Why? Because I can. Is John Cena subliminally that jealous of the success that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has had, and he is trying to do everything he can to elevate himself to that similar type of level? Saturday Night Live, Kids' Choice Awards, various other events. How jealous, in your opinion, is John Cena of the success of The Rock? Stan?
Well, I mean, as far as the first part of your question, I don't think it's subliminal at all. I think John Cena is definitely jealous of what The Rock has done, but it's more of a professional jealousy than anything else. He just wants that success. He's made his attempts with acting with Legendary and The Marine and 12 Rounds, and I mean, he's had his chances, but a lot of it was straight to DVD. With doing Saturday Night Live, the Kids' Choice Awards, I mean, Cena's trying to connect with that demographic that's really, really brought him into favor, and that's the young adult plus the kids that are watching his first Kids' Choice Awards. But will he ever be as big as The Rock? I highly doubt it. And if anything, he needs to just thank The Rock for opening that door.
Rob?
Well, I mean, I think I agree with Stan a little bit. Is he's just looking for that same success. Jealousy, I don't know. Is he trying to use it as a business model? Yes. But like the point was made, the movies he's made are all WWE produced movies. And just like The Miz, make a movie that's not the WWE produced, and then let's see how good you are.
Brian?
I am going to take a completely different path because I don't think he is jealous one bit. I don't think he even concerns himself with The Rock. If you look at the movie careers, let's not forget how long it took The Rock to start getting quality roles.
The Mummy Returns?
He had a couple of like craptastic movies, to his resume starting off. Money wise, once you make that much money, I don't think you can. It's just money. If you look at Cena's house, I would probably compare it to some of the biggest ones out there. If you look at the money he makes off of merch, money wise, he ain't sweating money. He's definitely not sweating his in-ring career because all it's going to take is for one more title win, and he'll be that guy with 17 wins. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think he is jealous at all. I think he is just now getting his opportunity because he may now be backing off of wrestling some to explore his other options.
Personal opinion, my side of the coin, I wish John Cena would have watched Dwayne's performance at the Kids' Choice Awards, just like I wish he would watch other people's performances. If you saw the Kids' Choice Awards, now granted, I'm not in their demo, but I'm a fan of the program itself for what it brings to the table. Sometimes shameless plugs are what it's all about, which that's what the KCAs were last night. It was an opportunity for shameless plugs for about 8 different upcoming theatrical releases. John Cena, I think, desperately is trying to expand and continue to build upon the fan base that keeps him in business in the WWE. I thought it was a great strategic move for him to host, but I think John Cena was the worst host I have seen on the KCAs in the last 10 years. He was overhyped, overamped, overplayed, overspoken, when he could have just been a little bit more of himself, laughing, joking, cutting up, and goofing off. John Cena showed nobody anything last night as it pertains to his ability to connect with a crowd. He tried way too hard. Trust me. Go ahead.
In the same breath, I'll use you because, I don't really get to interact with people in that type of situation on a regular basis. But you do, you announce, you're in the ring, so, in-ring stuff. And if you got called up, don't you think the first time you might have them big old butterflies and, you might be a little not on your game, so to speak? If you were in Madison Square Garden calling your first WWE show, don't you think you'd have those, I got to be my best, but in the long run, maybe you overthink it too much?
That ends after about a minute.
You think?
After about a minute. Because I will tell you the truth. When I was given the opportunity a couple of years back to call the first pay-per-view mixed martial arts under the administration of the Alabama Athletic Commission from the Von Braun Civic Center for Sport Fight X. Pre-show, I was pacing like a tiger in a cage. The minute the introductions were done, and myself and Curtis Putman from radio personality up in the Huntsville, Alabama market. I can't remember the name of the station, I'm sorry. It's been a while. But the minute we were brought out, and we got ready to go live, I was completely organic. I wasn't given a script. I wasn't given bullet points. I was told, you got a minute, run. Go with it. And I use the word run in a different context than what Bray Wyatt would, or Randy Orton would say. But we were just told, run with it for a minute. And he wanted me to do the opening blurb before the main title ran for Sport Fight X. And from that vantage point, the second everything lit up, my heart exploded, my brain kicked into overdrive, and the Magic City Motor Mouth took the microphone. Then I opened my eyes once we were through that first part, main title run. Light goes red on camera. Here we go. They can see my face. Yeah, I was a little bit nervous for about a minute, and then I realized I've done this crap for 30 years. Lock and load. Let's have some fun with it. I didn't intentionally try to overplay to my audience because I realized even though I was one of the hosts of the show, I wasn't the star of the show. Cena was trying way too hard to be the star as well as the host. The trick to the whole scenario, and you have to understand the subtle nuances of what's going on. The host can be the star without trying to be a star. You go in, you do your job, play to your demo, cut up, have fun, and do it right. They're going to remember you. If you go in and overplay it like Cena did, they're going to forget you a lot faster.
I think with a guy like John Cena, he's very prone to just trying too hard with whatever it is that he's going to do. If he gets too hyped up, if he starts really, he just seems to forget that he can just be himself, and it'll sell just as well as anything else that he does. But I mean, of course, I don't really get into the Kids' Choice Awards. I don't watch them, so I don't really have a dog in the fight as far as how his performance was. But if it's him trying too hard, much like he did when he was on Saturday Night Live, it's not the first time he's done it. Probably not the last. Hopefully, we'll see something different.
I'm done.
Well then, let's see here. So, Style Battle 3 going on right now. Anthony Henry taking on solid matchup between the two of them already. Kyle Matthews and Jason Cade was the opening contest. Cade wins with the frog splash where he actually jumped from the top like he was just going to do a cross body, turned in midair, hit a frog splash. It actually looked really solid. Style Battle, of course, started about an hour late, so it's going on right now on FlowSlam.tv. Okay. Yeah, I know, right? I want them to be like our sponsor. We should have an official agreement, a working agreement with FlowSlam.
Good luck with that.
I mean, they could, like,
Send me
bring
a
us
code.
up. Right. You know, like, get us over to your shows. We'll be happy to sit there and distract referees, won't we, Rob?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Speaking of, how did things go last night at the live event you went to? Or Friday night?
I was really impressed with Nova Wrestling.
Yeah. Rob, what was your... Why don't you go ahead and... What did you think about the whole deal? I was just going to tell you to go, so it's fine.
I thought it was a great program. I mean, I thought it was... The venue was the Annandale Volunteer Fire Department. The venue was plenty big enough. The talent was all out at the tables selling their, peddling the products, T-shirts, the autographs. The autographs that I saw that people bought and that I heard about were, $10. $10 for a picture and an autograph isn't. I mean, that's awesome. The wrestling was great. There wasn't, as I told the guys and uncovered on our show, was there wasn't none of the talent had that, hey, I just left my house and this is what I'm wrestling in look. They all had that professional look. They all acted professional. The only thing that I wish was better was the microphone, because I could barely hear what the ring announcer would say. But other than that, it was. For $20, $20, we got second row from the ring and saw everything. It was awesome.
Brian, what did you think of the whole overall experience?
It was good. I'd definitely go back. Right from the start, they came out pretty strong and, put a smile on your face and kept it there all night. And, there was enough high spots to go around, and there was some quality chain wrestling, some quality mat wrestling. You didn't have, like Rob said, you didn't have these guys that just came out and looked like they'd, pulled their trunks out of mom's washing machine. So.
Not even Fat Elvis?
Yeah, I mean, other than the fact that we weren't privy to who all these people were, I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good.
I thought that the overall pace of the night, just with how they started with Angelus Lane and Penelope Ford. I did finally figure out her name, guys. The Penelope Ford on Twitter, by the way. But the way that the night started off with Angelus Lane coming out to the ring and just really starting off with a good heel promo to get everybody involved. And plus, just going into the six-man scramble and with the qualifying matches for the Commonwealth Cup, it was a good feel. You really didn't get to a point, like Brian was saying, except for the fact we weren't really familiar with all of the talent. You really didn't get to a point where you weren't interested. There wasn't like that match, it's time to go get a T-shirt. You know, it was very well laid out. The pacing was done well. The only thing that I wish I would have seen maybe less of was the use of the RKO, Ace Crusher, Diamond Cutter, whatever you'd like to call it this week, because it seemed like every other match had that either for a finish or for attempted near fall, and it was kind of annoying. But aside from that, it was a really, really good showing for Nova Pro.
Yeah, I mean, the only other criticism besides, I had the same thing about, it seemed like everybody had the Diamond Cutter or the Stunner or whatever you want to call it. Was it seemed like we had too many people with the same kind of gimmick. Make sense? Like you had your one percenters and the Lion, the Dignitary, and it's like, huh. But I mean, other than that, it was great. Ring attire was. The ring attire was good. The ring was great. It was just, I mean, it was a good show.
I mean, how can you have a complaint when you get to see the most over tag team in Virginia, the Sandwich Squad? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they celebrate with hoagies, damn it. It doesn't get any better than that.
My bad. Sorry. I had to tell my daughter good night.
That's all right.
But
you heartless bastard.
Well, and like we can't say, we can't look over that, you know, the Rachel Ellering was there.
Oh my goodness.
And took on who?
Veda Scott. Wow.
A quality match. And then the main event was Sanjay Dutt versus
Trevor Lee.
Virginia's own Sanjay Dutt.
The player from the Himalayas, also from Virginia.
Yeah, from Burke, Virginia.
Burke, Virginia, that's right.
His dad and wife and kids were in the audience.
Yeah, his dad was filming the main event, I think from his phone, but it was funny because like every time we were acting up and being silly, he gave us this strange look, like, "What the hell are these guys doing?" And then his daughter, Sanjay's daughter, runs in and gives him a hug, which was really cool. I didn't realize it was his daughter. Rob and Brian were both like, "Yeah, that's his kid." I was like, "Oh, okay, now it makes more sense." Just figured it was a excited little girl that got a hug from Sanjay.
But we can't forget that we got to see the Carnies.
Yes. Watching the Carnies live was cool. Eddie, we tried as hard as we can to make sure they knew that we were friends of yours. They didn't care, but it was still fun to watch them.
They don't know me unless I'm there.
It was just cool to see it because, here's like, I used to always tell Corey when he would get guests from Georgia, I'd be like, dude, I have no idea who these people are. You're putting me in blind. He's like, well, it's really, really great. They're great in Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment. They're good here. They're good there. And then we had talked to the Carnies at one point, so I was super pumped up just to see them work. And it was cool. I mean, they did a great job. Hopefully they come back because they were able to generate a response from the crowd pretty easily.
Well, I mean, I would hope they came back considering that from even before the bell rang, what's that group? What's that other tag team called? Cutie and the Beast.
Cutie and the Beast. Yeah.
was just laying them out. So hopefully they'll get to come back and get another shot at them.
That's actually a really good point. Coming right out of the intermission, Cutie and the Beast and the Carnies are just brawling from behind the curtain all the way into the ring, and that is how we came back from intermission. The bell rings, and suddenly they're still brawling in the middle of the ring. Of course, the referee was just kind of chilling in the corner, watching, not really doing anything, not really trying to get any control. But maybe he was. That was the dark-haired guy. He seemed like he was kind of new or nervous, at least.
Yeah, but I mean,
which dark-haired guy?
I mean, I don't think you could actually, have a match like that. Except for in a fire hall. You know what I'm saying? Two established tag teams, and they just start brawling from behind the little curtain. It was fun. It was interesting.
On a for what it's worth basis, I've got to say this, and for those who don't know who we're talking about, because they just recently had an identity change, a name change for the team itself. The Down South Dandy, Nick Iggy, the Music City Mutt, Kerry Awful, for a long time were known as Team IOU. They just recently made the transition from Team IOU to the Carnies because they basically felt that fit the overall personality and presentation. And they are complete polar opposites image-wise, but the second they get within a continent of each other, they know each other. I mean, they're that close. One could be in New York, the other in California. You'd swear they're both in Kansas. And they make a tremendous tag team. They understand it. And no, I'm not going to use the Jerichoism there. But they get it. They understand it. And they know how to work in every sense of the word. I knew these kids when they were younger, when they were cutting their teeth and making their mistakes. And that was a combination that I've had a lot of faith in because I knew they would grow in this industry. And to watch what's happening with them now, with Nick and Kerry, absolutely tremendous. The success these guys are starting to have, well-earned and well-deserved.
And it's clear you can see the evolution of the team as they've grown. I mean, they really have... One of the things that's impressive with them is they... Just like you pointed out, they saw a natural progression to go from the good guys of Team IOU, and everybody in the Southeast really took to them in a fast fashion. The moment they became the Carnies and they went ahead and went full on with the heel turn, it was it was tremendous, and it is yet again gotten the crowd into it. They got the crowd behind them, and I really liked it. I was glad to have gotten a chance to see. It's one of those rare cases where you get a chance to see somebody wrestle that you've interviewed before, so that was really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that was the biggest surprise. Surprise for me was them losing. So
yeah, big name like they are comparatively, and I don't know a whole lot about Cutie and the Beast, but I was a little surprised that they didn't go over.
Mm-hmm. Now, don't get me wrong, Cutie and the Beast looked pretty squared away as well, but I just figured with them, I guess this was their first time maybe being there and being the bad guys, that they would somehow get the win.
And let's see, Governor Martin Stone defeated Anthony Henry just now in style battle. A little bit of a controversial finish. Should be interesting to see the aftermath of that as Evolve continues to go forward. Don't forget, Evolve is crowning, or excuse me, WWN is crowning a world champion on April 1st. Conveniently, WrestleMania weekend.
Yay.
So let's go to something completely different. What about the matchup between the young lion Alexander James and
Fancy Boots?
Fancy Boots and Chet Sterling? He's not abnormal. He's different.
He's also now in the Commonwealth Cup.
That's right, qualifying for the Commonwealth Cup, holding the. I probably botched the title name, but it was the PWI Ultra J Championship, which was previously held by, forgot the guy's name. Damn, I just botched that one. Oh well, sorry. Anyway, great matchup between those two. I thought that Alexander James had a great look to him, very polished, very comfortable in his own skin, so to speak. And Chet Sterling, of course, is already put himself in very familiar territory with being at the top of the card for him. So I was impressed. It was a great matchup between the two.
Yep, I thought it was a great match. I thought it was a great lead into the main event. You could tell those guys probably main event the other shows that Sanjay's not there and some other, So they seem like the constant at Nova Pro, and I called him Fancy Boots just because somebody in the crowd made fun of his boots. Said, "Hey, your C3PO boots aren't going to help you because they were glittery gold color." So I called him Fancy Boots. But again, his character, his ring attire matched his character. If that makes sense. Like sometimes you go to these shows and they say, this is somebody, but then it's like their ring attire does not match who they are. But I thought it was a great match, one of the best.
Brian, what do you think of old Fancy Boots himself?
Well, I think they were very polished as far as the rest of them go. They didn't miss much. I think they clicked on all cylinders. I think some of the biggest moves came out of that match also. So.
I mean, I will say that they had for the moves that they did on the outside of the ring, there were no mats on the outside of the ring. If that makes sense. Like there usually is those mats, but they performed high-flying moves out of the ring and onto the floor, but it was just the floor. So you had to give them credit for that.
Yeah, they were taking some pretty heavy shots, and hitting the ground there was just ceramic tile flooring. Maybe not ceramic tile, maybe just like vinyl, but whatever. There was no mats out there. So, getting back to the Carnies for a second, I believe it was Kerry Awful who did that. What did he do? Like a planche over the top rope. That's
after he said "Happy Birthday."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. That was right. That was he went flying over the top rope. I mean, and when he landed, there was nothing there to help him except for the folks in the front row. So, thankfully, nobody got hurt, at least from what I could see.
I mean, it was a great show. I mean, yeah, that flip over the ring, and then just the way they talked to the audience, you could tell. I liked the interaction with the crowd, and you had the people that we talked about that were over in the one corner that obviously are like Nova Pro regulars,
right?
And they had the chants already. They had the streamers ready, and nobody in the audience crossed that line to make it uncomfortable for anybody else. So
yeah, this
well
is
done.
The first being to where there wasn't a fan
they just got too rowdy or tried to act a fool. Nobody was drunk or disorderly. Probably helped that they were in a government building, but nobody was really ill behaved. It was just a solid crowd.
Yep.
I mean, the one percenters were kind of obnoxious, but that was just because they were, the one percenters.
Well, I mean, they were in their character, I mean, they kept with the character. They kept with what they were going for. But like you said, I mean, the pay-per-view from the beginning to the end, it flowed. They kept with some continuity with the Commonwealth Cup, that for the people that come to the things know, hey, we got the Commonwealth Cup coming up. And then we have, you have the ones in, who was the bad boy? What was that guy?
Joey Janela, who was also just tremendous to watch, and he took on Logan Easton LaRue, the champion of the one percenters.
Yeah, I mean, that was a quality match, but then you could tell they got the seal of approval when the rest of the people stood up and said, "Please come back, please come back." So I thought their seal of approval, shall we say?
What about the battle of the big men between Ricky Shane Page and the undefeated Eric Royal? We've talked about it in recent weeks as far as the Giant Big Show versus Braun Strowman, how great of a match they had on Monday Night Raw, and then we get to see these two guys. One of them's 285 pounds in Ricky Page, and then you've got Eric Royal, which I would imagine he's at least 250, maybe 260. Just watching the two of them go at it, I was impressed.
I agree. I mean, I liked the match. I liked Royal. Again, another one of those matches where they shot to the crowd, and it was one of them. I guess it was. I forgot the name. What was the other name you said, Stan?
Ricky Page.
Ricky Page. It was his first match in Nova Pro. He had wrestled for somewhere else, but he was just so animated. And he reacted to the crowd, interacted with the crowd while the match was going on, and the ref. I hate you, ref.
Yeah. Every time he's asking him, he had him in an arm bar, he's like, "No, but it hurts. It hurts." I mean, it was just.
I think I'm gonna puke,
which is good. Yeah. The interaction he had with everybody, the way he worked the crowd was good. With the matchup between the two of them, and this was a match where one of the high spots or one of the finishing attempts was Ace Crusher, but it seemed to kind of fit with the flow of the matchup.
Yeah, I mean, it was and for two big guys, they had some matches where they actually at one point moved the ring to one side, and then when they came back to the other side, the ring slid back the other way. But then, he was you could tell that Page was playing the bad guy, the heel, and but it was that. It was just a very, very good show.
I mean,
can't wait to be there.
How can you? What's that?
I said I think we plan on being there for April 14th. The Commonwealth Cup at the Jewish Community Center in Fairfax.
Yeah, I think we may have found a new favorite hometown or hometown favorite or whatever. And then, of course, seeing Veda Scott and Rachel Ellering, their matchup was pretty good. I stand by the fact I think Rachel Ellering is getting better every single day, and it's only a matter of time. And he's on NXT and on the main roster for WWE.
I mean, I think so. I mean, you saw that, she debuted on TNA this week, but I think she's one of the ones that just, with time and with experience, Because I think she's only been wrestling for what? A couple of years?
That I'm aware of, yeah, only a couple of years. I mean, for someone so young and so new to the industry, she certainly has taken to it pretty quickly. Of course, it helps that her father is Paul Ellering.
I mean, it also helps that she's doing exactly what people are doing today. I mean, she's got the following on Twitter, she's got the following with the T-shirts. She's got the different things, and so she knows how to work it. When she shows up to an audience, they know who she is. So yeah. And Veda, the same thing. I mean, she did great. Somebody asked her, "Hey, how many times are you going to keep coming back?" And she said, "As long as y'all keep paying me, I'll keep coming."
Yeah, I mean, there was a definite feel for the folks that we saw on Friday night. Seemed like there were a lot of people making their first time appearances for Nova Pro. So definitely some positivity there, some potential as far as growth, and that I'm aware of, this is only Nova Pro's second really running. So definite positives in my opinion.
Yeah, we can't go wrong with a wrestling organization that sells shot glasses by 4.
Yeah.
Sets of
I wonder
4.
if they're going to use them to fill the Commonwealth Cup.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. It's an idea.
It is.
So let's go ahead and kind of close out our conversation here about Nova Pro. Brian, what was your thoughts as far as match of the night?
To me, it's Dutt versus Lee. That was a pretty damn good match. Had a quicker pace than the rest. You can tell them to know what they're doing in the ring. So I think that was my favorite. Of course, I always like Sanjay Dutt. He's fun to watch.
Rob, how about you?
I agree. I mean, I think Sanjay Dutt versus Trevor Lee was great. And I also think the match before that with Mr. Different and James, was a great match. But I'll have to go Sanjay.
I think the matchup between Trevor Lee and Sanjay was tremendous. But actually, I think I really and Logan Easton LaRue. I thought their matchup was just the same. I mean, as far as pacing, it was quick. It told a story, and it got people involved from the beginning to end. And realistically speaking, it lays groundwork for both guys to continue and hopefully a feud, which I approve of, definitely. But Nova Pro was certainly a solid outing, so to speak. We definitely enjoyed ourselves, and as Rob said, we look forward to going back, and hopefully that's on the 14th where they have the Commonwealth Cup. That'll be exciting. Well then, having given some due diligence to Nova Pro, we move into some of the news of the week that we were talking about a little bit in some of the post-show as far as what we saw from this week's WWE programming. Of course, we talked about the Miz and John Cena and how their layout is going forward towards WrestleMania. We look ahead towards what else can be going on with WrestleMania, and that is Shane McMahon against AJ Styles, where the groundwork was laid. Apparently, AJ confronts Shane McMahon in the backstage area, and this could be setting up for what hopefully will be a solid matchup between the two. The question here is, when you look at AJ Styles and Shane McMahon, one, I mean, how does Shane McMahon top what he attempted to do last year at WrestleMania 32, jumping off of Hell in a Cell with AJ Styles?
Well, I think you just, Shane can put a decent match together when he wants, and as long as it's he doesn't try to out wrestle AJ or do something he's not able to do. I think, that has the potential to be a really good match because I think AJ will carry him where he needs to carry him, and as long as, again, if they don't try anything silly. But you're talking about Shane McMahon. He jumped off the Titantron. If way back in the day, if y'all remember, so it's hard to say what he'll do.
What do you think, Rob?
I think you gotta, at this day and time with your company, you gotta keep your stars in line, especially with WrestleMania. Everybody wants to be involved with WrestleMania, and you gotta have all your stars in some kind of line, because it doesn't make sense to get to WrestleMania and then your face, the champ that runs the camp, is not on the PPV. It just wouldn't make sense. All this year of build-up, and then, oh, wait a minute. A year after he debuted at WrestleMania, we don't have him on the show. But I think it's good.
I think my only fear is that AJ Styles and with AJ Styles and Shane McMahon, that Shane ends up taking a bad bump from the Styles Clash. But you would hope that Shane has enough knowledge and confidence in himself. He won't tuck his chin. He'll just take it flat like he should. But having seen some of the guys that you would think would know what they're doing and would take it appropriately, then you see a guy like James Ellsworth who just gets bent up like wet newspaper. The Styles Clash isn't necessarily a dangerous move until you have that one freak incident, and now it's a scary thought to think that something like that could happen. And I was talking about it in our post show when we were heading home on Friday night. It seemed to me like it's one of those times where that could actually happen because of the, I won't say inexperience, but maybe the ring rust, I guess. I'm not really sure how to word it. But that would be a fear for me.
Well, I also think that a match like that, Shane McMahon's not going to be a James Ellsworth, and he's not going to, Shane McMahon's going to do his homework and figure out. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't go to the Performance Center and he goes, all right, give me the Styles Clash. Show me how to take it. Beforehand.
I think that's a valid point. Honestly, I hadn't really thought of it that way. But yeah, you would think going into such a high stakes type thing with WrestleMania that they would go ahead and prepare appropriately, and I would think Shane would want to prepare in that fashion. I think you got a good point there.
Because you got to think, last year for him not getting in the ring, how many times? He was at the Performance Center and all that other stuff beforehand. Because Shane's just like his daddy; he knows the show. It's it's all about the performance.
So we know what Raw's layout so far is for WrestleMania. We've got Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Charlotte for the women's title. We've got Goldberg and Brock Lesnar for the Universal title. We've got Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho for the United States title. And we've got the number one contenders match this coming Monday, tomorrow night, between Enzo and Cass and Cesaro and Sheamus to take on the winners, taking on Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. The side of WrestleMania has been laid out pretty solid. SmackDown, we've got Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton. We've got AJ Styles versus Shane McMahon. We've got apparently Dean Ambrose defending the Intercontinental title against Baron Corbin. What do you guys think of that matchup between those two? Is this what Rob's been predicting for a while? Is this where Baron Corbin finally makes a statement and wins the title?
Yes.
Well, okay. Back to you, Brian.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that he should walk away with that title from WrestleMania. He's been quietly building steam since he debuted, and I think it'll pay off this WrestleMania.
Eddie's a little quiet in the background there. Eddie, what do you think about Baron Corbin and Dean Ambrose?
James Ellsworth for president.
Shut your mouth.
Hey, at least it'll get him off television. And for the record,
No, it wouldn't.
Well, at least off SmackDown. And John Layfield, when they were coming back from break and they took the camera shot into the ring, and Layfield made the statement, "I am so sorry that why in the world did we go high definition, folks? I am so sorry." I was on the floor laughing. That is one of the funniest things that Layfield has said in the longest time. Corbin, he's gaining a little bit of traction in my book. I think that he's coming along quite nicely. I think they finally decided to devote the attention to him. I'm not sure who his agent is as far as the matches go, but I think there's potential. And I'm curious to see how they continue to build this. They got to get the Intercontinental belt off Ambrose because it's not doing a damn thing there. Was that what you were looking for, Stan?
I think that's as astute an observation as they come. So, yes, sir. That's exactly what I was looking for. Well done, Eddie.
Well, excuse me, my name is not Patterson or Briscoe. I'm not a stooge.
Oh, I thought I said astute. Did I say astute? I'm sorry. My bad.
Okay.
Well, with that, let's go ahead and take our top of the hour break here. So we'll go ahead and take a pause for the calls. When we come back, we will continue talking about the week that was, talk a little bit more about WrestleMania and some of the possible matchups that still have yet to be announced. And we'll also talk about a couple of wrestlers coming back from injury. Stick with us right here on Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio. We'll be right back here on BeyondRingside.com and ProWrestlingRadio.net.
What's up, everybody? It's Stan Grubb for Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio and the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Hey, join us every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as the triple threat of wrestling radio goes live every week, giving you their thoughts and opinions on the world of professional wrestling. Myself, Brian, and Rob, all live, all here for you. And as my good friend Rob would say, from corner to corner and pillar to post, we bring it to you every week at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. BeyondRingside.com and ProWrestlingRadio.net.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on BeyondRingside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
The To Be Determined show live Wednesday nights, 9 Central Standard Time. Join myself, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, the Grand Design, Clyde Braddock, and the Magic City Monroe, Fast Eddie Lane, as we take you to the edge of uncensored. Yes, we go uncensored, so make sure you have your earmuffs. Ask your parents, for those of you that are a little young, maybe under 18, but make sure if you have any heart conditions or any mental defects, please listen, because they may take effect right here live every Wednesday night, 9 Central Standard Time. Beyond Ringside Radio Network, BeyondRingside.com.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motormouth, Fast Eddie Lane, with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark Mabo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on BeyondRingside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
You know that's not how this works, Rob. Don't tell me how to do it. Now we're back after the break. So we had a nice little break. We talked about a few things. Now we're going to talk about them on the air. So I guess we'll start with you, Stan. Go
Well,
on, give me your thoughts.
Let's start with what we've been hinting about pretty much all week, and that is the apparent attempts by Impact Wrestling to put a cease and desist notice out there for networks attempting to broadcast the Hardys matches. Letters are being sent out from Impact to pay-per-view providers, to different promotions, basically telling promotions to not air the Hardys in-ring action and promos, as there is a quote-unquote ongoing suit or a litigation in process for the broken Hardy gimmick, I guess. Rebby Sky, was on Twitter yesterday putting on a pretty solid rant. So let me go ahead and read this off. Starts off with a tweet basically saying, "You guys are hilarious." And there's some folks giving the middle finger and F that owl. She's tweeting off a couple of the pictures there. So, Ms. Hardy, I'm just scrolling down here because I did say I was going to read this off. Can we just talk? What's that?
We ain't got all night for a rant. Paraphrase.
And you can't use that certain language on this radio.
All right, I'm sorry. So, she says, basically, can we just talk about how many times the Hardys' contract could have been broken due to numerous issues on TNA's end, and never made a fuss about it, but they want to try and come at us now after the fact. Their goal is, of course, to make the company quote-unquote great again, and then, of course, they break down into petty acts like doing the TNA video package for the history of TNA, not showing any of the mentions of Jeff Hardy, of course, who put 7 years in for the company. And then, of course, you've got them forgetting to mention Kurt Angle. I can only assume the fact that they don't have Kurt Angle in those videos, by the way, is because of his recent signing back to WWE.
Kurt Angle was in part of one of the videos. I did see him in one of the videos.
Did he have a mention at least?
I think Coulter mentioned him. Not Coulter, but Mantell. I think Dirty Dutch mentioned him.
Yeah, he mentioned him when he came out and did his little, remember Christian, remember Kurt Angle, remember, but they all went somewhere else. But anyway, continue, sorry.
No, that's fine.
And then,
of course, no, you're totally fine.
Do me a favor, I have to cut
yes.
in for a second because I'm currently at the website for the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Right now, as it stands, Broken Matt Hardy is owned by Matthew Hardy, an individual in the United States of America, 345 Boys Camp Road, Cameron, North Carolina. The trademark is live as of March 1st, 2017. Matt owns his name. Stick that in your owl feathers.
Yeah.
Screw that out.
No, because PETA will call you, Stan.
Well, damn it. You know what I meant.
God, you're trying to get like the federal government on this show, aren't you? Jesus.
No, I'm not. Nope. Moving on. So, of course... Really? So she goes on in her rant, and let me just tell you, she did take a break midway throughout the day and then posted another follow-up to it, which was just as scathing. Just talking about the dedication that Matt and Jeff had shown. I mean, of course, she gives birth to King Maxwell. Matt leaves the day after Maxwell was born to make sure that he is there for the television taping. She points out that the 3 highest-rated TV segments of 2016 were financed by the Hardys solely to help the product because they believed in TNA. Then, of course, they get into the fact that the lawsuit also includes one Senor Benjamin, who I didn't know this until she actually put it out there, that Senor Benjamin is actually her father. Never under contract to TNA, never paid a dime. But apparently he's included in this suit. They didn't actually start negotiations, according to Miss Hardy, until about 3 days before the Hardys' contracts expired, which that's the same basic routine they played with James Storm, and they lost him with that, and with Bobby Roode, and they lost him with that. Of course, James Storm would later come back, but seeing as to how things are going, they're trying to give James Storm a little bit more leeway, but I could only imagine he won't be there much longer. It's interesting to see that Impact or TNA or whatever we're going to refer to him as, they would prefer to be referred to, by the way, as Impact Wrestling. TNA is no more.
That's correct, Trevor Lee. Remember that.
I mean, you got the X Division title and it says TNA on it still, though. That's the thing.
They can't afford to fix it yet.
Yeah, but he could at least be like, I want to be referred to as the Impact, not TNA, like he did.
But I like what you said, Brian. Maybe you haven't checked your email.
Yeah, check the email.
Judging from the condition he may have been at the main event, maybe he just can't read it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would give James Storm, Moose, and who's the third one over in Noah right now? Impact sent 3 to Japan for some Noah shows. And I would give them an excuse. Maybe email didn't catch up to them or something. You know, maybe they didn't get that letter that Impact had changed. But, I mean, Trevor Lee should know that.
I mean, it's alarming to me that they would take this kind of a stance after the fact yet again with just that's not a gamble you want to play with. You've got such high caliber talent with the Hardys. I mean, Jeff Hardy is a freaking rock star, and he gets to TNA. He dedicates his time and his efforts. Of course, you know, he has some struggles along the way with substance abuse, but he gets himself clean, gets back on top in the company, and they still can't keep it consistent for him. Matt Hardy basically reinvents himself. And this is a guy that had been through hell. WWE released him when he was in really bad condition. He had suffered from appendicitis, which actually burst in the midst of him wrestling in the ring. He had gained weight. He was in poor shape, poor spirits, and a mental capacity as well. And reinvents himself, creates the broken Hardy gimmick and character, becomes the most over wrestler in the world, realistically speaking, with just one phrase, and that's delete. And, I mean, of course, go ahead.
To me, this is going to end one of 2 ways. Or actually 3 ways, I guess. One, it's a work, and they're going to go back and get the titles back from Decay in a few months. And when they return, it'll be the biggest deal ever. 2, the lawsuit will fall flat on his face. Or 3, the Hardys are going to say, well, screw y'all, show up at WrestleMania, and they'll get a shot at New Day. So that's what will ultimately happen within the next month for the Hardys. Because I want you to think about it. If this is a work and they go back to Impact, when they make their return, that's going to be big.
Honestly, I could see them going back. I could see that this is, I don't know if it's a work, but I could see everything getting smoothed over and the Hardys going back simply because of the schedule and the creative freedom that they would most likely get in going back. And I can't see how they wouldn't have that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, again, it's both sides are pretty public about it. So sometimes when both sides are public, you know, it's a work. But, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. But I think it's petty. Just let them go. You know, they brought you some money. They kept your company alive for, probably 6, 7, 8 months. Let them go. If you know, let them keep their stuff and roll on. Because you ain't going to win. I mean, would Impact even have any rights to the name? Were they majority owner? Were they? You see what I'm saying? Was the deal with them, or was it with Dixie Carter?
Well, I mean, there's the thing that's going to be their battleground is going to be what's called intellectual property. You know, WWE is perfect for that because they know how to trademark and hop on things even before it's on television. This is something we were talking about the other night. But we don't know what TNA's or Impact's contracts look like. And if they didn't have the presence of mind to include that if there's any kind of gimmicks or intellectual property done while in their employ, then they may not be able to win this fight. And I can't understand for the life of me why they would want to send cease and desist orders out there unless either A, Brian's right and it's a work, or B, they've got something in the contract that states that they've got a leg to stand on. I just can't see it happening. I can't see this ending in the favor of Impact. I really can't.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the other issue. Would they have the money to go to court with the Hardys? Because if the Hardys have indeed financed several episodes of TNA, and we all know where Impact money is, would they even want to go to court with them?
I guess it would really depend on how much money that they're going to be willing to dole out, and maybe they're thinking that with the finances that they have, maybe over at Impact, they're thinking that, hey, we've got the money to try to outlast the Hardys, but I'm inclined to believe that the Hardys probably have the money to go the distance.
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing, too, if the Hardys are smart and this is real, I go to Vince and say, hey, Vince, we'll come to you, but we need you to help get Impact off our back. And let's see him go to court with, the WWE and that money. So, and it's, Vince will finance stuff. He financed ECW. He financed Stan's favorite streaming site. So Vince will put money out there.
Yeah, I mean, the one company I would not want to go to war against in a courtroom, unless my name was CM Punk, and that would be the WWE. Their attorneys are pretty damn good at keeping them out of harm's way, and I don't understand at all why half of the people that go after these concussion lawsuits think that they're going to win in an effort to prove that Vince McMahon was telling them that they had to work hurt. Hey, back in that time frame of the late 80s and 90s, and of course before that point in the late 70s, you worked hurt, you worked no matter what, because you didn't want to lose your spot. And that wasn't necessarily the promoter telling you that. That's just the industry. That's just the business as it was at the time. And to hold one person accountable for that is just ridiculous to me.
Well, I mean, here's the other thing too. Let's look at this last episode of Impact, which was what, on the 6th?
Yeah.
Was that 5th, 6th, something like that? If he had indeed trademarked that on the 1st, could Impact get away with showing them on TV?
If they actually have the intellectual property, if they actually own that, then yeah, I guess they could. I mean, who's to stop them?
Well, but you see what I'm saying? So, who's to say where we're at in this thing? They could just be doing this to try and pull the wool over our eyes one more time.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time that one of them got us. Damn it.
Ain't gonna be the last.
You're probably right. Rob, where do you stand on this, man? You're awful quiet.
Well, I mean, I think the reason, if it's true and it's what it's supposed to be, the reason TNA is doing what they can is because they're the sore losers in the whole deal. They're hoping that all this, if they blast all these people that don't show the Hardys matches, what they're hoping for is that the Hardys will suffer from that, financially, because people are like, oh, no, we can't have that. What they don't realize is nobody cares about Impact. Like you all said, in a company that the wrestlers provided their own subs, the wrestlers that stayed there basically paid their own way. They paid their own thing. And then, they don't have a leg to stand on in court when it comes to this stuff. Because as soon as they start mentioning, we did the Broken Hardy gimmick. It was all us. All Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy have to do is your highest rated shows are on whose property? Mine. Who allowed you to be there? Me. Who paid for it? I did. And a judge is going to go, you know what? This is sore losers. It's just like when, you do this, you do something, and then an ex-girlfriend or someone's like, well, no. That's all it is. It's just sore losers. And it could be that it's all a work. But why? Why would you do a work and then want to go back? You know what I mean? When you're on the way up, why would TNA Impact be where you wanted to go back to?
That's the thing that confuses me. Like with a guy like James Storm. I mean, the same basic situation happened when James Storm, except there wasn't a lawsuit involved. TNA Impact waited until 3 days or a couple of days before his contract's expiring, and they either couldn't get the job done or they just didn't even bother. It's just, why do that? Why even make your company look bad in that regard? Because you're not giving yourself really an opportunity to have success. And Storm, of course, took his opportunity with NXT and went.
Yeah, I don't understand why Storm went back. That's quite perplexing.
We'll have to read that in his book one day.
Familiarity breeds
You'll have
contempt.
to ask him one day, what in the hell prompted you to go back? All right, so real quick. I'm looking at this thing on Twitter it's talking about relationships between wrestlers. And it's talking about, people you didn't know were nieces and nephews of other people. So one of them is the Sheik and Sabu. All right. Now, I knew that. I knew they were related or whatever. However, for the picture of the Sheik, they have the Iron Sheik.
Oh, God.
And not the Sheik. So, yeah.
Way to go, internet media. Good job, guys.
Fantastic.
Ding dongs.
There's another site that always puts those kind of lists out there. It is Sportskeeda, I think it's what it's called. And they always put these. I don't know what their angle is on it. If they're trying to make WWE look bad, or if they just want to use their list to get their name out there, like a lot of these sites do. But they always do these like things that WWE doesn't want you to see, and none of it is ever that big of a deal.
Clickbait.
Well, here's another interesting one. Jerry Saggs is supposedly the uncle of Cody Rhodes. And then it's also got Fred Ottman, who is Tugboat, as the uncle of Cody Rhodes.
Wait a minute. Look, I don't want to start nothing, but how's that happen?
And these are the people that the lawyers at TNA or Impact are trying to convince not to watch the Hardys.
You're a moron.
Roddy Piper and Stu Hart. How did Roddy Piper become the uncle of Stu Hart?
Wait, what? Wait a minute, what?
This is getting better and better.
Hey, did you know that?
All right, here's
go ahead.
Kendall Windham and Bo Dallas. Now, again, that's legit. The Wyndhams and Rotundas. And playing the role of Kendall Windham would be Blackjack Mulligan.
Damn it. These sites suck. That'll put butts in seats.
Good for a laugh.
Did you just Tony Schiavone that whole thing?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
By the way, if I may, about the Hardy Impact situation, dear Impact, please extricate your cerebellum from your sphincter.
Wrecked him. It nearly killed him. Thank you. Please tip your waiters and waitresses on your way out.
No. Shaggy Doodle Dandy, I'm sorry. You get this one tonight, Stan.
Your parting gift is a quote from Damien Sandow. Ignorance is curable, but stupid is forever. Please tell me you're joking, ma'am.
Okay.
Nobody likes you, Sandow.
Everybody loved Sandow except Vince.
Yeah, that's one of those classic examples of letting one slip through your fingers.
And I'll say it like this: if Rick Rude was still here, he'd love Damien Sandow.
Yeah, because you know what happened with Rick Rude this week?
Set up.
So you had all day long to sit back there and think.
Well, do you? Do you know?
You just took that one right. I got to do this one. I should have played this one for Stan.
So you had all day long to sit back there and think of a promo, and that's the only crap you could come up with?
Thank you, James Storm. That one will live forever. For the record, as far as James Storm going back to Impact Wrestling, a lot of people call that predictable. There is the old phrase familiarity, so to speak. It's stomping grounds for him. He's used to Impact. He's used to the lighter schedule. WWE is more physically demanding whether or not you're in NXT or on the main roster. As far as it goes, I wish James Storm all the best in the world, regardless of whether or not he stays at TNA, Impact Wrestling, or goes to WWE, or decides to strike out on his own. And obviously, we can see exactly what happened with Global Force Wrestling. It became the global farce all over again. They lasted how long before Jeff went back to Impact? And lo and behold, with the situation with the Hardys, like I said, to Nordstrom and Company, just simply do one thing. Guys, let it go. If this is all a work, who cares? You played us. I love it. Great. Do it again. Get some publicity for free. But the Hardys were your meal tickets. The Hardys were the reason why the ratings for Impact were higher in the final quarter of the year. But unfortunately, Impact and the boneheads in programming, phrase I haven't used in a while, just can't seem to see past the edge of their nose. Okay, we want them to stay no matter what, so we're going to sue them into staying because we're going to keep their name. Well, right now, according to the United States Patent and Trademark Office, Matthew owns his name. Suck it, Impact.
Suck it.
So right now, the Hardys are the talk of the town in elevating Ring of Honor. Not Impact. Suck it, Owl. From that. So, yeah, I know. So basically, the thing that you are not in this whole scenario, since the Hardys and the Young Bucks decided to tear the house down twice in 1 week.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Y'all
better suck it. That's the first time that I've heard Eddie talk positive about Young Bucks.
Oh, give me. I'm
coming home.
Tonight, the role of Brian Taylor will be played by Red Fox. But short, and let me restate that whole sentence one more time because there is an effect involved here. Impact, Nordstrom and Company, since the Young Bucks and the Hardys tore the house down twice in 1 week, the one thing you are not right now is too sweet. And as far as it goes, Brian, let me go ahead and put the words on the line very clearly.
You love the Bucks.
I like the Bucks. They don't suck.
No, you love the Bucks.
I don't love the
Bucks. Say
Bucks.
it with me. I love the Bucks.
Brian loves the Bucks.
Somewhere deep down inside in those places you don't like to talk about, you need those Bucks.
I knew that was coming. I saw it.
You want those Bucks on that wall.
And somewhere right now, Brian's wet dream is to get more bang for the buck.
Oh.
No, you got that wrong. It's Bucks.
What's the name of the move called? More bang for your buck, right?
You mean that, or
that might have been a porno I watched.
That or the
Super Kick.
Super Kick Party, yes. And for the record,
so bring the Bucks up, man. They lost the Super Kick Party belts.
And who has them? the nefarious Nero, and hashtag broken Matt Hardy. For the record,
Crazy.
I really enjoy watching the Bucks in ring. I do believe that they are spot monkeys to a great degree, but when they get into a match with a team that can genuinely go at their pace and at their tempo, and that they respect enough to do a good trade back and forth with as far as that tempo and moveset goes, the Young Bucks are one of the best teams on the planet. I enjoy watching them in action. As far as it goes overall, though, are they one of my favorite teams right here and right now? No. But are they in my top 20? Yes. Top 10? No. But they are an exceptional tag team. There, you heard me say it, Brian.
Not even in your top 10?
No.
That's dastardly.
Right now, my number one tag team in the world is Texas Day Brazil with my VIP membership card.
Well, okay then.
Alrighty.
I get all I can eat bacon wrapped filet, cooked medium rare. Hell yes. And I get to save money in the process.
Hey, the Hierarchy is making their debut on Style Battle. Murder One and Chip Day challenging for the ACW Tag Team Championship. Murder One, of course, is a former NWA World Tag Team Champion.
Yep.
This is a cool concept. I'm glad to see this one. This is a 4-way tag team match for the ACW Tag Straps on Style Battle. Very cool.
Now, actually, that is one team that you really need to look out for, because even whether or not they're down at AWE or UIW or any other about 16 different promotions around the Southeast, they've also, both Murder One and Chip Day have been making appearances with the National Wrestling League out of the either the Kansas City or the St. Louis team. I can't remember which one, but they've actually been. Have you guys heard of this company yet? NWL, National Wrestling League.
No.
Look it up, guys. It's an old school spin on traditional flavor with a progressive outlook. I like it.
Cool. I'll have to do that.
I've actually had both of the general managers, one for NWLKC, which I still want to sit back and say, he may have changed his name back to Matt Jackson, but it was Pierre Abernathy. And the one for St. Louis is Chris Goff, who... behind the scenes, a lot of people may not know, and some actually do know, the fact that he is a former staff writer for Monday Night Raw and WWE.
And there you go. I'll have to check it out. National.
We started, by the way, for the record, is National Wrestling. WRASSLIN, not wrestling, wrestling.
Website is nwleague.com.
Yep.
I like this layout. It is, to Eddie's point, a very old school feel. Has the standings. It's got the win-loss records. Man, I like that. That's cool.
Then on top of everything else, actually, they have independent shows on their own, but once a month they cross over to where the KC team takes on the St. Louis team. So they are actually they're doing an NFL thing by building a rivalry, or a football or a true sports thing by building the Kansas City versus St. Louis rivalry. Beautiful concept. I love it.
Pretty cool.
I'm
digging that.
Even Rick Rude would love that.
You mean newly announced Hall of Famer Rick Rude?
Yes, the one that actually Rob, I believe, was trying to start factoring into the conversation a minute ago after he took my setup run.
How about that? About damn time. Ravishing Rick Rude. Finally. What's that?
What's that, Rob?
You know what needs to happen?
What?
You know what needs to happen?
What's that?
Is all you fat,
out of shape,
motor. Oh, I was just kidding.
Careful.
Corner to corner cronies sit down while Ravishing Rick Rude puts on his Hall of Fame ring.
Wow.
But he can't
Well
put
done,
it on. But
hey, out of curiosity, I don't know a whole lot about Rick Rude's family. Like, I don't think I've ever heard anything about his family. Does he have anybody in his family that's in the industry?
That's in?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So who inducts Ravishing Rick Rude, and who does his acceptance speech?
You do it, Stan.
All right, sure. All right.
Who inducts? Jake the Snake.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Bobby Heenan.
I think
Bobby Heenan.
Stephanie McMahon.
I would say she probably won't, most likely for the reason that she wouldn't have inducted Randy Savage.
Well, I mean, you could have until recently, you could have Road Warrior Animal, since they all came from the same area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Animal would be a good one.
Maybe Curtis Axel.
Yeah.
Raging Bull, Manny Fernandez.
Ooh.
Former NWA Tag Team Champions together.
Yeah, held it for a while, too.
What about Paul Heyman? I mean, who could forget the Dangerous
if you're gonna give him an open mic?
That would be stellar. You know, Hall of Fame night, they'll do it.
Well, I mean, they let the Freebirds talk for 45 minutes.
Yeah, but that's the Freebirds. All right,
You know, like
that's the Freebirds.
I still think there's part of them that Michael Hayes and Jimmy, they're still down there talking.
Okay. Is that the buzzer?
Actually, no. Sorry, I was playing something.
When you hear this sound, turn the page. When you hear the sound, shut the up.
Yes, that is a midget between my legs.
Whoa. That got awkward.
Edward, I think you're getting a little after hours on us, and that's not appropriate because then we can't play back.
You horses, you know what?
That was a disgusting act.
Thank you. Glad to see I get something right.
So we've got 3 weeks till WrestleMania. We've got Rick Rude going into the Hall of Fame. Diamond Dallas Page going into the Hall of Fame. Beth Phoenix, Kurt Angle into the Hall of Fame. Teddy Long going into the Hall of Fame. Who else?
Now let me ask you this question. Rock and Roll Express. Let me ask this question, Stan. Out of those nominees, who's the weakest?
Wow. Beth Phoenix?
Why?
Please.
Just because of the shortness of her career, and the resume that she's bringing to the table isn't all that different than what we've seen with Trish and Lita and some of those Hall of Famers that are in. There's room to argue that maybe she could have waited maybe another couple of years.
Brian.
It would be Beth, but again, it would just be because of what Stan said. Her career was much shorter than the rest. I think she clearly would have had more titles had she been able to wrestle. I think she gets in, but again, out of just if you're going to talk the weakest, I think it's her. And actually, that's no slight though. That's a pretty strong class.
I really can't say other than Beth because, I'm looking at everybody that's involved in the Hall of Fame right now. But here's the thing. I don't look at Beth Phoenix as being weak. I believe that the impact that she had for the time that she was there, and once again, duration of career, I'll go along with that. But what she did while she was there was excellent. I think she left the industry way too soon. I think that she could have, she probably would have had at least another 6 years. But I also understand that when situations come to pass, they come to pass. It's just, I think with 21 more days left before WrestleMania, I've got this hunch that they are going to have one more blockbuster, because I don't think Rude was the blockbuster. Rude's the one that's they're going to sit back in the boardroom and go, all right, that'll shut them up for 5 minutes, but that's about it.
One more.
They've got to have at least one more. I mean, remember, they don't have that full step.
Well, what about Angle? Do you think maybe Angle's not the blockbuster either?
I think Angle is the blockbuster, but I think there's got to be at least one more, because remember, Angle still technically could be active right now. Rude is posthumous. And the sad part about it is they need one more person that is going to be actually alive. So honestly, I'll be honest with you. I would not be surprised if Demolition were not inducted this year.
Wow. I mean, I think that they should be in, but I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of top-notch names that they could go after. I mean, if I'm WWE, if you want to continue down the road of making sure that Daniel Bryan isn't an active in-ring performer, maybe this is the year you put him in.
That would be all well and good, but I don't think... let's see. Foley's a Hall of Famer already, right?
Who?
Foley.
Yes.
Yeah.
They could make it Daniel Bryan. But since when would that actually stop Daniel Bryan if he leaves WWE from going back to being the American Dragon Bryan Danielson?
Yeah.
I mean,
and he did make mention of that. And you may see him again in a year and a half or whatever.
If he can get strong enough, I don't see why he wouldn't do it. But I have to keep the world in proper perspective. When he was told the same thing that Edge was told, Adam Copeland hung it up right then and there. Same way with see, the mindset of those of us who have played sports or have been in physical activity, such as pro wrestling, mixed martial arts, boxing, football, baseball, doesn't matter. If you've played a physical sport for an extended period of time, you know what I'm about to say. It is a hard pill to swallow when the doctor says no more. Mm-hmm. You have two halves of your ego. You have, and neither of them 90% of the time is going to say, okay, let's get out while the getting's good. That loud part of your ego is, this sucker doesn't know what I'm going through. He doesn't know what I'm capable of doing. He doesn't know that I can actually make it through this, and I'm going to prove him wrong. I can do this again, even after you've seen the MRI. And then you have the other side. If you have a family circumstance, all right, time to buckle down and be the family guy or girl, depending on your circumstance. I'm using a guy for a theoretical point of reference. But you are basically forced into that position where your ego goes, let's take this energy and do something else with it. That's the hardest thing in the world to do. We all want to think we're 10 feet tall and bulletproof. But I'm also going to sit back and say this. I remember those last few weeks before Daniel Bryan was discontinued, before he had to step away from it for doctor's orders. This could have been avoided. Triple H wants to get on with his hypocritical horse crap this past Monday on Raw and talk about the very best medical care to be found. You know who that was? That was Dr. Such and Such. Well, you know, Junior, Daniel Bryan probably would not have needed that top-flight medical care if certain individuals such as yourself, Hunter, weren't taking extraordinary liberties with steel chairs. Sometimes, I mean, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. There's just a lot of different situations that happen with Daniel Bryan along the way that put him in a negative spot. But a lot of that, yeah, you can point out some of the chair shots and stuff that happened while he was in WWE. But at the same point, I mean,
click the button to get started.
Sorry.
Well, alrighty then. I mean, you got to take into account the amount of concussions that he suffered before he even got there. It's the scariest part of it. I mean, just like Eddie mentioned, is the reality when the doctor tells you you can't do this anymore. And I mean, he's talking about having seizures in his sleep and all of this other scary stuff, battles with depression. The more and more you put yourself in a position where you can injure your brain and get another concussion and put yourself in a position where you may not be able to remember your name. And I don't know. I wouldn't want to be the guy that has to tell him either way, because it's just such a tough position.
Well, to answer the question, I think everybody was right with the weakest link in the Hall of Fame. But I think also the argument was right in the fact that, her timing and her career. But she's not the weakest link all the way, because I think they're going to put in Jon Stewart, and he'll be the weakest link. Goodbye.
A celebrity induction.
Oh my gosh, Jon Stewart. Well, hell, if they'll put Drew Carey in.
Well, you got to think every year they try to put in a celebrity of some sort, and it has to be somebody who was involved with the WWE. And so, who has been the latest celebrity? They keep coming back. Unless they're going to try to put Shaq in, which would be dumb. But it just makes sense if they're going to put in a celebrity in this year. Put in Jon Stewart, and then
maybe Maria Menounos.
Oh yeah. Well, at least we get to see her.
Yeah.
But
Fantastic.
Yes, sir.
Fan. And Brian made the discovery this weekend. What discovery did you make, Brian, at the local Target?
Oh yes, we're saving some best for last type thing here. Okay, so last year around the time we went to Charlotte, so that would have been April.
August.
So I think the month before, the WWE announced that they were putting Magnum TA into their figure line, and he was going to be an exclusive to. Help me out here, Stan.
RingsideCollectibles.com.
There you go, RingsideCollectibles.com. So it was supposed to be an exclusive, only place you could get it. And when we went to Charlotte, we happened to see some jackass with about 4 of them.
That's a capital A, double crooked letter.
Yeah. He was trying to get them signed by Magnum and wouldn't come up off of them. So I hope you still have them, by the way. Anyway.
Or would not allow Brian, who had one item, to get autographed. And
I
people
jumped
to autograph it.
I jumped in Arn. So Arn kind of ran a little pick play for me. Waved me on, moved me ahead of him. Anyway, so the other day I'm in Target. I'm checking out the toy aisle, as I'm known to do. And I come across the WWE action figures. And who is staring at me from behind the plastic. First time in the collection. The box looks just like the Ringside collectible one, unless there's a sticker that Ringside might have slapped on there that I'm not sure about. But old Magnum TA in pretty damn good condition as far as the box goes. How much did I pay for them? $15, I think it was. So if you're into collecting figures, be on the lookout for Magnum TA. I'm not sure if this is a new run, if it was put in accidentally, if it's in the main series now or whatever. But again, if you're looking for classic wrestling figures or you're into figures, run down your Walmart, your Toys R Us, your Target, whatever, and keep an eye out for him because I found him in store, and he's downstairs right now. They'll come upstairs and be put in the collection soon enough.
Awesome. And we got Mid-Atlantic Wrestling Expo going on in Virginia in May, and announced tonight, Gary Michael Capetta will be there.
Wow.
Old ring announcer.
Capetta.
That's pretty cool.
And they've had some changes in their pricing of some of their tickets. I'm wondering if they're seeing that their tickets aren't getting like sold as much as they thought. But they said that they are changing the way, and they've got the meal, the dinner that has kind of like the Legends Fest dinner. It's like Demolition, Rock and Roll Express. Most of the people that are going to be there, and then they have a Q&A afterwards. So, but I just thought I'd say that.
Some of the talents that have been announced in addition to Gary Michael Capetta is Eric Bischoff is supposed to be there. That'll be cool.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Let's see here.
Stan can bust out his leather jacket.
I know.
Back better than ever.
Is he bald, though?
No, he's got a whole head of gray hair, though.
Well,
it says
idea.
They're announced the following ticket levels are now reduced to the following. Platinum is now $199. Gold is $149. Silver is $99. The silver level package is new and features admission to the expo, admission to the matches, admission to one Q&A of choice, a lanyard, T-shirt, and event poster. The Friday evening dinner Q&A is now $40. Demolition, Rock and Roll Express, The Patriot, Del Wilkes, Bruce Pitchard, J.J. Dillon, Greg Valentine, Earl, and Dave Hebner will be there.
And what day is this Saturday?
This is May 19th and 20th. It's a Saturday, I think a Friday night and a Saturday.
We might have to run down there Saturday. If I'm all I'll check the schedule. Just do a one-day thing.
Jackie Crockett.
Rob. Yeah, I was going to say, there's a listing of talents and Q&As. There's a bunch of them. Tommy Young's going to do a Q&A.
Yeah. Jillian Hall. Perfect 10 Baby Doll will be there.
I just got a call from her agent this afternoon. Jillian Hall, that is.
Really?
Yeah.
How did you manage to connect up with her agent?
Hi, I'm Fast Eddie Lane. How you doing?
Well, okay then.
And anybody else gets the following phrase. Oh, son of a gun, it didn't work.
Yeah, that'll teach you. See? Yeah, finally, karma done bit you in the ass. Ha, ha, ha.
Okay, fine.
TNA Knockout Jade.
Oh, no wonder. Plug it in, stupid.
Ron Simmons. Ron Simmons is going to be there. Rock Richards. Max Morrison. Glacier.
Dude.
Damian Wayne. Sam Ellis. Bob Orton.
Pork Chop
Sanjay
Johnson.
Dutt. Earl and Dave Hebner.
Sounds like the
Magnum Terry Allen. Fred Ottman, or as you say, Tugboat. Nikolai Volkov. It's pretty stacked.
Hey, Rob.
Yes.
What was that game show phrase you used a little while ago?
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Knew I had that sitting around somewhere.
She could say some hurtful things, I'll tell you that.
I was so in like with that woman. Almost became...
Rotor Animal. Vader will be there.
He's still reading down the talent list.
Oh, I thought you were talking about people that she's been mean to.
Oh no! I mean, she was Jim Cornette and is doing the. I think he said he's doing a Jim Cornette experience.
Oh God! Been there, done
there's
that.
a Q&A with him.
I wonder if we could see Cornette and Bischoff in his Cornette experience.
That would be awesome.
Says
okay,
he will bring the.
Bischoff.
Now, what is the website for this event again?
Mid-Atlantic Wrestling Expo. It's also www.wrestleexporva.com.
Okay, so this.
.com.
Oh, so they're moving it this year.
Well, no, it's not. Charlotte is still doing their
thing. This is a
thing.
brand new one.
Yeah.
I want to say this is a different one.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, Legends Fest is still in Charlotte that we know of.
So that would still be NWALegends.com.
Correct.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, 2017 reunion. Tickets for 2017 are available.
Now, this time last year, we already knew who their top guest was going to be. There's no announcement thus far for who their top guest is going to be, except no, that's announcement for DVD. Yeah, there's not a top guest listed this year so far.
Nope, there's not. Wow, and it's already we're almost in the midsection of March right now, and lo and behold, they haven't announced anything.
Well, they had Cornette and Jim Ross announced during the winter months. We had already gotten our tickets done when they announced Jim Cornette.
Huh.
And Jim Cornette, Jim Ross was the big selling point for me anyway. But
Jim Ross isn't a big selling point for me. Okay, we can go about 5 minutes over on this one because I do want to bring this one out. And sorry, guys, I'm going to go point counterpoint with Rob on this one. Why was Jim Ross a big selling point for you?
Well, just because I'd never seen him before, never heard of him, and not heard of him, but hadn't heard him. And I've heard, listening to his show every once in a while and his views. And I just had always been interested in seeing the ringside with Jim Ross. And so that's what I was interested in, just because, hey, you got to see that. And then it followed up with the Jim Cornette experience. So just with his involvement behind the scenes in WWE, I thought we were going to, get more stories and stuff.
Okay. Brian, anything you want to follow up with?
No. I mean, my selling point was other things.
Stan? Okay. Sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
But yeah, we may have to check that out. I'll have to look and see if I'm working on the Saturday. Well, could you get off, Stan? Could you?
I would find a way, sir.
Because I would like to get.
I may have to pull some overtime because I damn near went broke when we went to Legends Fest.
Yeah.
But,
Well, yeah, but I mean, again, this would just be the one day. Maybe we catch the matches that night if they got matches.
They do. I think they got two.
I wouldn't mind finally getting the Rock and Roll Express's autograph. I need to add JJ's to the collection, but there wouldn't be many that I'd be looking for. So maybe Ron Simmons.
Damn.
If only my shirt had held down a little bit longer.
What is the closest what is the Richmond Airport code? RVA?
I would say, yeah. It's a really easy airport to get to.
Okay, that's RIC.
And
Richmond
getting in and out of.
Yeah. And to get to Richmond, it's, I think, 20 minutes from Richmond, about, give or take. And it's not hard once you get on the interstate to get to Richmond. It's a real easy ride.
And when does this start? So it's May 19th and 20th, right?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. checking Expedia right now.
Expedia.
There's. We've piqued his interest, shall we say?
Oh,
Nice.
here's a news bite that just came across the wire, guys. Rusev set to undergo shoulder surgery, possibly missing WrestleMania.
Possibly my ass. He's missing it.
That's
Does anybody care?
Well, I guess not.
All right,
hey,
it says
you wanna-
Friday.
Go ahead.
Friday evening is a Q&A, and then the dinner, and then the activities start at 8:30 on Saturday morning. Sorry, I'll shut up now.
No. Do your thing. Do you, bruh. Do you.
Yeah, well, I mean, it sounds like Rob's really, really into this, so we may have to do this for old Rob. I'll try and get him down there.
Well, okay. You're going to twist my arm. All right, Rob, let's go. Let's go see wrestling. Okay.
Stan's thinking, I wonder what kind of belts are there.
Now, you know what? Here's the thing.
Oh, are you a belt
If
mark,
I-
Stan?
Oh, am I a what?
Are you a belt mark?
Yes, sir,
Yes.
I am.
Okay.
Over and above and over the top belt mark. Yes, I am.
Then you'd love mine.
I think at one time there, Eddie, between Stan, didn't you have a few yourself, Rob?
I have 2, and I continue to have 2.
I still have
but
4.
but what I'm saying is at one time we probably had the entire like WWE, all their titles, and then WCW's titles.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
ECW's world title.
Yeah, there was one time there was probably 12 titles to be had.
Eddie,
Never-
current.
You ever have 2 tag team titles? I know you had one, didn't you?
We had the WCW tag titles. I had 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, those were damaged in the flood, in the Great Flood. But yeah, I had those, and I had the Winged Eagle, the big one. No, I had the big Attitude Era Big Eagle belt. I had the ECW World title. Rob had the Big Gold and the U.S. title. I don't know of any of the others that we had. I can't really remember. Now, currently, Eddie, to answer your question, just to give you a good idea, I've got the Winged Eagle, I've got the Oval Intercontinental title, I've got the U.S. title, I've got the spinner belt. Yes, I have the spinner belt. And I have the Scratch Logo World Championship, a big gold with the WWE logo on it, the NWA World Championship, the NWA World Television Championship, and that's where it stops.
I only have 4. I have a version of the WCW World Tag Team title, the one with the eagle inlay on it. The EC.
Oh, whoa. Yeah. Before you go any further, I do have my crown jewel, the classic 1991 to 1993 World Championship for WCW.
But you also have the television title, the NWA title.
I have the NWA title.
Didn't you have the IC belt, Stan, or did you sell that back?
I have the oval one, but I sold back the one with the yellow strap on it.
I have a copy of
Yeah,
the
one thing. Go ahead, Eddie.
ECW World Championship and the WCW Hardcore title.
Ooh.
I
Which
didn't even know they
ECW
had
belt?
one of those.
Which ECW World title do you have?
Taz.
Nice.
Stan will give you $50 for it.
Nope.
Damn it. Oh, and I have the NXT title.
Not even if you
Which
put
is
another 5 in front of that.
ginormous.
I was offered the copy of the NWA World Championship that I've got is actually in pristine condition. Well, actually, all 4 are in pristine condition. It's one of those-
Condition?
Condition. I don't know.
You might want to take a you might want to take a pill for that, Eddie.
And if you have a conviction that lasts more than 4 hours, see your doctor.
Or
Buy
go
a
to your
belt.
local brothel.
This is Alabama. Prostitution's not legal here unless you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent.
Sure, why not?
I'm just waiting. There's going to be a bomb go off in Montgomery one of these days, and I'm just going to sit back and I'll bring the hot dogs. I'm not going to set it. I'm just going
Lane are not the views of.
I'm not going to blow the damn thing up. You know how expensive those things are? Please. I'll just bring the hot dog for when that SOB burns. I don't trust anybody who calls himself a politician or a representative. That's why I've always said I'm going to run for the governorship of the state of Alabama. I'm not going to run on the Republican ticket. I'm not going to run on the Democratic ticket. I'm going to run on a parking ticket because once I win, I'm going to park my fat ass in behind that desk and make PAC money for 4 years.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and, to quote Eddie Lane, go ahead and get ready to head to the radio ranch, so to speak. Lee-
Trails to you until we meet again.
Microtel, I think I'll go with that one.
God, you ruined it. That's it. I'm out.
You ruined his moment.
Stan, you know what to say for me. I'm out.
I was actually trying to book a hotel in Richmond.
Yeah, book a hotel
man.
in Richmond. We'll try and be there.
That's what I'm talking about. Do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, we'll hang for the wrestling matches. Well, you know, be a good old Saturday night.
Just depends on what time I can get into town.
That would be epic.
Mhm.
All right, so you can catch up to the Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio crew on Twitter. Rob can be found at.
He's trying my stick again, isn't he?
Glorious number one, Rob C2C.
Brian can be found at.
Mm-mm.
Dirty bastard. STRTV21 on the Twitter.
Man, somebody sent me a friend request from some corner address. I don't know who the hell that was. I had to deny it.
I saw that one. That was a humorous selection. I don't know that the other two have seen it yet. I can be found on Twitter at no, that's Brian. That's Stan from Krypton. Corner to Corner, of course, can be called at C2C Radio Show. We are on Facebook at Corner to Corner Radio Show, cornertocornerwrestling.com, Corner to Corner Radio at gmail.com for all your comments, gripes, complaints, or bitches, and photos. And then, of course, we will be here live next week at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Good Lord Almighty, it's almost WrestleMania time. Whew, can't wait. Glad to have everybody on board. Thank you so much for the downloads and for telling your friends and family about it. I want to thank everybody for spending your evening with us. Final thoughts on the night, Rob?
It's a great. And for everybody who's following us, Stan will be to your house a little bit to pay you back.
As long as you're not expecting cash. And
yes,
he works, and he also gives favors.
There you go.
And with that, everybody have a tremendous night. We will see you next week right here on Corner to Corner. Have a good night, everybody.